You wanna go?
Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Amsterdam Talk Season 3. We're finishing up the Unconditional Love episode that we had started last week. Where everybody go? Had started last week um, with the great couple, Janie and Russell, where they were speaking about their book that they had, about unconditional self love and, the many struggles and self doubt of insecurity, but, learning to love themselves and the process as usual. So I don't know what it went at, but maybe I should get straight into I Be Damn to keep the show actually rolling. Let me see what they're yelling me. All right, here we go. All right, so I just introduced you again. So when we left last week, you were explaining, Russell, about men not being successful until their 40s, and it cut off when you were saying, because we waste time in our younger days, wasting time and energy on, and it just went.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what I was about to say was I was alluding to the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich book, right?
Okay.
So in there, in chapter 11 of that book, the chapter is titled Sexual Transmutation, but he talks about how men don't reach their genius until like their late 40s,
Mm-hmm.
maybe to mid 50s. And it's basically how they expend most of their energy in their younger years, like chasing sex, things like that. Really trying to find themselves for the most part, but some take a lot longer. But eventually, it's when they slow down and they find that woman, that one woman, and now all of a sudden their sexual energy, they're able to transmute it and use more brain power, and they tap into their genius at that point. So it's really not until they fall in love with a woman that they're truly inspired. So if you look at all the great men, especially in our community, you look at Malcolm X, you look at Martin Luther King, you look at the Obamas, it's like there was always that woman that inspired them.
Now, this is probably a question that everybody always asks, and I really know there's no definitive or no scientific answer to this. How do you know
Okay.
when that's that person? Like, there's no scientific or no definitive answer where I can just say 2 + 2 is 4. This is how do you know?
That's a good question. So when you come into your higher self, which is your higher God self, and we kind of talked a little bit about this last week, right?
Hmm.
You you're gonna know if that person is in their higher God self as well, because it's gonna be based on divine things. It's not gonna be based on superficial things.
Hmm.
And you will know, you will feel it, you'll be able to know. And the thing is, you guys, when you come to each other in your God divine self, then that third energy, which is love, or which is the most high God energy,
Hmm.
you continue to grow deeper and deeper and higher into your God self.
Okay.
So you'll know when that person is at least seeking their higher self, seeking their God self. You will definitely know. The conversation is different. The emotions is different. They move different. Their purpose is different. It's totally different.
So it's just butterflies every day, I'm guessing then,
Yeah, let me add a little something here. What will actually happen is you would meet the as a man, as a masculine energy, you'll meet the feminine equal to yourself.
Okay.
So when me and her came together, she is like the feminine equal of me. So if I were to be a woman, I would be her, like her spirit, her soul,
Okay.
and that goes into like our twin flame chapter. So it's almost like we're mirrors of each other. So we feed off of each other. Like, when you meet that person
Hmm.
and you're around them for a short period of time, but it seems like you've known them forever and they could figure you out real quickly. And it's almost like they anticipate what you need, what you want, and it's already there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the twin flame journey is not everyone's journey. This is actually a part of your DNA blueprint. This
Okay.
is something that you and your twin decided on eons ago, that you would meet up in the physical realm when it is time to
Mhm.
make a huge shift on the earth. Like now, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, you look around, the world is in uproar.
Right.
And the only way that we are all going to come into unity is through love. That's it. So it is not everyone's journey. But if it resonates deeply with you, it is probably a part of your DNA blueprint.
Okay.
And you activate each other. So when you meet, it's almost like keys and twisting the door to unlock everything. And not everyone will have your key to unlock you, but we have that for each other.
All right. So, the key to unlock you in the twin flame. So you said the twin flame is not everybody's journey. So what would be another journey if you're not on that twin flame path?
So it could be something as simple as just a good relationship. Like you could find two people who are compatible. You could find a soulmate, right?
Hmm.
So we talk about in the book as well the difference between a soulmate versus a twin flame. So like a soulmate could be a situation where you come together just to accomplish like a particular goal, like to have children, to learn how to forgive,
A
you
soul
know,
lesson,
right,
yeah.
a soul lesson. And I'll let you go ahead and explain the rest.
And twin flames come because there's a deeper mission for humanity.
Hmm.
So a lot of people do get soulmates and twin flames confused. Soulmates, you could have many of them. Your mother could be your soulmate because there's something she's here to teach you. You could have many soulmates, but your twin flame literally has the blueprint of your DNA, and you come together for a much higher mission, and it is for humanity. So our relationship is not about us, and we know that, and we understand that on a high spiritual level. It is
Hmm.
to anchor down unconditional love and spread that out so that other people can start to awaken to their higher self as well.
Okay. Question shot about across. What about kindred spirits?
So it would fall in alignment with everything that we're saying. It could be something as simple as two people who are compatible. It could be the soulmate. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You have soul tribes, you have a soul mate,
Yep.
and then there's the twin flame. So I think she was explaining in her process that the person asked the question.
Yeah. I mean, kindred spirits are spirits that are also could be a part of a whole group. You could have a group of souls that come together and travel to carry out a mission. The twin flames is typically, and I'm not saying this is always, but it's typically a feminine and masculine energy that come together to harmonize and to heal each other polarity and anchor down the unconditional love of Mother God, Father God, so that you know that the love vibration, the God vibration is not a he, is not a she, it is a wholeness.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is exhibited in that relationship.
That yin and yang theory, right?
Exactly.
That's what I was
Universal
gonna
law says that there is the law of gender. There's two opposing energies, masculine, feminine, everywhere in the universe.
say. Okay. But I want to go back to what you were saying last week before we actually got off when you were talking about negative energy. I mean, as far as like you were talking about African American women saying, I can't have this type of man. I can't do this. I can't do basically barriers, putting a barrier on yourself, blocking your blessings or blocking your twin flame or energy that you're supposed to receive. Like, can you touch back on that again?
I think you had asked the question that it wasn't a compliment. I think when a woman is
Oh, yeah. It
told,
was a
"Oh, you're,"
compliment
Like a
about being a
strong
strong black.
black woman.
Yeah.
yeah, and we agreed that no, that's not a compliment. We have been strong because we had no choice to be strong. So we have women that have been in their masculine energy not because they want to, but because they have to. And sometimes as a woman, when you have been in your masculine energy for a long time, it's hard to know what's your feminine energy. But naturally, as a woman, as a feminine woman, I love easily. I nurture. I heal. That comes to me easily. masculine, protect, provide, you know. So when we're both flowing in our energy, we are at optimum. You know, we're at optimum, and we can create and keep putting things out into this world to help raise the consciousness on this earth. So it's just a matter of programming. We have been programmed, you know, in a lot of ways right now. Not just, you know, women are out of place, but you have a lot of different things that are out of place when it comes to gender and stuff like that. And I don't have any issues with any of that, but I'm just saying programming.
Okay.
Yeah. So as women, we've been just out of place, and men too.
Well,
And
I'm not going to say. Go ahead, Russell. You can go, Russell. You can go
no, I was
first.
just going to add one thing. If we're being honest, a woman's real strength lies in her femininity.
Okay. And that's what I was getting ready to circle with that. So you took that out my mouth, and I was getting ready to say, now I'm not talking about LGBT community. I'm talking about straight heterosexual women now that
Okay.
have masculine energy.
Okay.
And then you said things are out of place. This is 2023.
Mhm.
So things are out of place. So how do you get to, if you have a masculine woman and a masculine man, does that work?
No.
That's where conflict comes in relationships.
Yeah.
You see that a lot now because you have a lot of these women who had to fend for themselves for long periods of time. You know, they're at home cutting their own grass, taking out the groceries, carrying like stacks of water into the house after they brought groceries home. You know, things like that. They're hanging up their own pictures and lifting heavy things. Now their bodies are starting to produce more testosterone than estrogen. You see what I'm saying? So they're masculine. Our bodies are chemical factories. So they're starting to become a little bit more masculine, more edgy, things of that nature. So now, you know, they come and, you know, they're with a man. And sometimes that stuff shows up because it would take a minute for it to level back out, right? But it's going to take a strong masculine man that knows his strength, you know, and her understanding her strength and them working together. That's why knowledge is power. That's why we should seek knowledge and understand from a more scientific standpoint than just shallow. And one more thing I'll say, I remember one time the minister stated that there were three things that they would never teach Black people in America. And one was the science of war, the science of money, and the science of relationships.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, our relationships, they're based upon more Western culture, like materialism, right? You know, we're more of a communal people, you know. So it's like if you look at most relationships today, the women are looking at the man, they're looking at everything on the outside of him. How much money does he make? What kind of car does he drive? Where does he work? Are those gaiters he got on? Like, what kind of coat is that? You know, and the man's looking at her body, you know, he wants to know all these materialistic type things, right? But time catches up to all that. It has a shelf life. So one of the things we spoke about before was, you know, you have short-term goals and you have long-term goals, right?
True.
You know, and like the long-term goals, when two people meet, it might be, okay, we're gonna date, we're gonna get married, we're gonna have children, we're gonna put them in private school, we're gonna buy this house, we want this type of car, right? Well, if both of you have adequate employment or business, and you know you're educated, 3 to 5 years, you might meet all those goals,
Right.
you know, and you get to the point where now you're looking at each other, you're bored because like, what's next, right? And like, and I'll give you an example, like Phelps, the swimmer, right? They said he worked so hard to become the best swimmer in the world. And then when he obtained it, he started to go into depression because that was his whole life, was working to get there. And you look at a lot of people like your Jordans, and when they get there, now they start self-destructing. They're going to gamble. They want to do all these other things because they're looking for a new challenge, right? So we say not only do you have short-term goals, long-term goals, you have to have infinite goals. And that's where you start looking at studying more deep spiritual aspects of life, that you're an eternal soul, right?
Mhm.
And that you should be trying to walk to God together, and there's life after this life, right?
The only thing that's infinite is your consciousness. That's the only thing you take from this physical plane when you leave is your consciousness, which is your memories, your love, and that's it. You don't take anything physical from here.
And think about it. And if you evolve that on a day-to-day basis, every day she's meeting a new man and I'm meeting a new woman. And so the fire just keeps going because we're constantly renewing ourselves. We're sharing new wisdom. We're researching new things, and we're going on this adventure. Life's a journey.
And we individually and independently work on becoming the best and highest versions of ourselves.
Exactly.
And then when we're doing that independently and individually, when we come together, it's fire.
I understand. Now,
Yeah.
to cross your theory, Janie, you say we don't take anything when we leave here, which is true. The Egyptians tried that shit. so, so
Facts.
they failed.
Facts.
Our ancestors tried to take their gold, their money.
They was burying with all that. Exactly.
Then you have the tomb robbers.
Right. They tried.
Exactly.
So-
All we take is our consciousness. So if we could work every day into, gaining more wisdom into our consciousness, we're going to be amazing. Because the truth is, we're going to take that in our next journey, wherever we may be on a different planet when we leave this planet in this lifetime.
Yeah, and one more thing, like you take, like we said, you could only take in that proverbial bag your conscious memories. So that's why it's so important to create memories. You know what I mean? The love and the memories is what you take and what you leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's good. I just want to say, like, we create memories, right? But what could hold you to come back is if you're creating from a low vibration of guilt and shame. Let's say you are killed because someone shot you and you were in fear. You may have to come back another lifetime just to repeat that one episode of fear and turn that fear into love.
Okay.
So when you can create in love, you could leave here freely. You may not want to come back to redo nothing because you will get a life review.
Yeah. Yeah. But I wanted to, say that, when you speak about making memories and things of that nature, like that starts off at birth, because regardless of what a parent, mother or father, grandparent, whoever bought a child something, they might not remember that. They'll remember you taking them here or showing them there. So you're 100% right on that, as far as like creating memories. So when you find your twin flame, your soulmate or whatever, it's like what you do on that road and journey that you do, you'll remember that. But then also, like Russ said, in 3 to 5 years, if we're financially stable, we're trying to reach these goals in 5 years as a Jordan and a Phelps, we maxed out. What else can we do now?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I may fall into a depression. Like now, I don't know if I want to be with you. And the flame has burnt out because everything has been done. We did it so quickly.
Yep.
That's why it can't be based upon materialism.
And I totally understand that it can't be based on materialism, but everything we look at these days from, I know you guys probably not into it, but a lot of people on social media, they look at these celebrities, say, oh, these are our relationship goals. This is this goal. This is this goal. But my whole concern with it is like, we see them in front of the cameras. We don't know what's going on inside that house.
Right.
Somebody could actually be miserable.
Right. Right.
Violence and more going on, but you only see what's going on in front of that TV.
Yeah, that's why people can't take all that at face value, right? Because we see what happens in the media, right? We see a lot of these people have millions of dollars, blow their brains out, drug themselves to death, and do a lot of crazy things. But at the end of the day, if you really look at it, why do people want to be rich? Why do they want to have the nicest house, nicest car? At the end of the day, they're looking for love, happiness, joy. They're looking for these things and they think that you can buy them. You can't buy them. These are things that you could only get by giving it to yourself, by going deep within, connecting to nature and the Most High. That's the only way. Get happy first, right? That's why, not trying to be religious or anything, but it says seek the kingdom first, which is knowledge, wisdom, understanding, right? You chase that higher consciousness, and the rest, all these other things will be added on.
That's
I'd
facts.
rather be happy first and then acquire $1 million than acquire $1 million when I'm miserable. Like look at the people who hit the lotto. Within 2 years, they're normally broke. You see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it's a consciousness.
Mhm.
So it's like we should seek joy and find it in the little things. Because if you can't find it in the little things, you're not going to find it in the bigger things.
Right, and that's one of my things. One of my favorite movies, Barry Gordy's Last Dragon, when Tamik says, you reach the upper level when your mind, body, and soul can be one.
There you go.
So
That's a bar right there. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And that's enlightenment. When you get to enlightenment, you understand that you are God, that God and you is the same. And not only that, we are one with all other human beings and all of the cosmos as well. So that is true enlightenment, and not just knowing it, but living it, embodying it, and being it.
Right.
So we talk about love, but I am love. Every day I embody that energy. I do everything from that vibration, business, relationships. And sometimes the loving thing is saying no and setting boundaries. So I don't want people to think that a loving vibration is all butterflies, like you say, and just, being weak. It's not. Love is strength, is strong. And in love, I could set boundaries. I could say no.
But that's one of the things people feel like they can't say these days. No, no, you gotta say no. Because if I say yes to you every time, you could do a million things for a person, and once you say that one no, becomes a whole issue. No, you have to be able to, like you said, self-care, self-love, and unconditional love. No has to be a part of your vocabulary.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
no is powerful.
One of the most powerful words in the English language.
It is very.
I see what you said, Black Marvel. Wealth is a state of mind, just like marriage. Now we're going to go back to the professor from Morgan when we spoke about that, because I remember you was here, Black Marvel, when he said that. Wealth is a state of mind, but these days, marriage is damn near business now. It's all about status. And what did I say on that show? I said, you'll never see a Caucasian female marry down in status. You'll never see it. I don't know if you remember that episode, but we were speaking about, business model of marriages, and basically saying, like, when you have a certain status quo, you'll see a man, he'll do it all day. He'll marry down in status, but a white woman will never do it. And I just don't, we just spoke about that for a little bit. But you also said, but love is one dimensional. Plus, most people don't know that there are different types of love, although they know about the 5 love languages.
Mm.
That's all he said.
Yeah, love can be expressed in so many ways.
Love is multi-dimensional.
It's not just in relationships between men and women or masculine and feminine energy. Like, say, for example, a person is single right now, right? Mm-hmm. Like we were both single before we came together, and it's like you have to learn how to fall in love with yourself, fall in love, whether you have children, you have friends, co-workers, your job, there's all kind of different ways that love expresses itself. It's that highest emotion in the universe, and it's expressed in everything and everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if God is love, that's multidimensional.
Okay, so I was getting ready to go to that, to say that you're single. So, like, how do you tend to mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual needs as you're single?
Great. I could answer that.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So, like, I could give you a prime example. So prior to us meeting, I went through a divorce. She went through a divorce. So, I was married for 20 years. So I had a lot of energy that's still there that I had to work through. Right. So I had to learn how to spend more time by myself, because I was more identified with being married and my children and my family. Mm-hmm. That's who I was. Right. So now it's like I have to redefine myself. So now I have to go back to zero and build myself back up. Mm-hmm. So, like, say on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as your mindset, your emotions, where you're at, say you come home one day and, I learned how to cook. So, I would say you're at a 5, you're just mid-range, feeling all right, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would cook a nice meal, right? I would burn a candle. I would read a book. I would work out. I like listening to jazz or love songs. And you do these things each time you're going up a notch, right? So now you're back up to 8, 9, 10, and you're all by yourself, right? I did that for months, did it for a year, 2 years. Now all of a sudden I'm so comfortable with me having a blast, right?
Right.
So now I'm like, I want to share this with somebody else.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, so if I would have went to them when I was 5, guess what I'd attract? You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So if I'm 5 going out looking for a relationship because I'm lonely, you're going to attract a 5. And it's going to be toxic. You see what I'm saying? But if I work on myself and now I'm up there hanging around 8, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, my heart's emoting that energy out into the universe. It's signaling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else over there is working on themselves.
Yeah.
They're up there 8, 9, 10, they're emoting. And now you meet, whether it's in the grocery store, the gas station,
your
wherever,
energies will
the
magnetize.
energy, your soul will introduce to that person before you guys even get to know each other's name.
Okay, we had a question before you answer, Janie. We had a question prior to that. They say there's someone for everybody, but what if they just don't meet?
You may not meet this lifetime, and that's true. If I don't know if you've ever, people out there that's asking this question, you might dream about your twin flame. You may see your twin flame in the dream world, and you never meet on the physical plane, but you feel them, their energy, you have these amazing dreams of this love out there, and you may never meet this lifetime, but you're preparing each lifetime to meet on the physical realm. It's also said that once twin flames come in union, they don't incarnate back on earth. They go somewhere else in the cosmos because their mission was done here.
Let me add something, because I know there's probably some people sitting there looking at the screen going, what the heck are they talking about? Right? But I'm just saying, I'm going to add this because the whole concept of reincarnation, I think a lot of people get caught up in their religious beliefs, right? And that's where cognitive dissonance sets in, right?
Right.
So whether you want to believe in reincarnation or not, there's thousands of stories out there, and I don't know how you could deny it. But if you study the history of religion, particularly Christianity, which the majority of us been indoctrinated with, we hear of the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD. Well, 553 AD at the Council of Constantinople, this is the second ecumenical council, they remove reincarnation from the religious faith. So up until that point, that's 553 years after the death of Christ, right? That they removed it. So, and if you really read inside scripture carefully, they actually talk about reincarnation.
Yeah, I just actually pulled it up for you. So the chapter said had undone the work of the council, Chalcedon of 451.
The Council of Constantinople would have been 553. That would have been the second council.
Oh, wrong one then. I apologize.
One was the Council of Nicaea.
I wanted to mention just a second ago about what single people should be doing, right? And this is if you want to be in that divine relationship, and this is for men and women. One of the things that I set out to do is that I didn't want just any relationship. I used the word divine. And when I started writing down the things that I wanted, and he can vouch for this because he's seen my journal. Okay. I wanted a divine lover, and I only wanted divine relationships, business, friendships, everything. So divine relationships was one of the things I wrote down. Then I wanted a divine lover who knew themselves in God. Okay. And that's so important because when people don't know who they are, it's going to be hard to cultivate a divine relationship because you have to know who you are in God first. Your partner have to know who they are in God, and you come together in that divine energy. And when I tell you, I only surrounded myself with loving energy. I use the word love all the time. I used to be like, oh, I love that shirt. I love this food. I love this day. I use the word love in your language.
Mm-hmm.
Only listen to loving music. Music is very vibrational. Don't listen to things that's not loving, because you're putting yourself in that energy. I had to become divine love in order for me to attract divine love. Literally become it. A breaking of old beliefs and patterns, a complete dismantling of how I view the world, and a rebuilding of divine love. Those a complete different lens. So I want people to understand that you have to intentionally want this.
Right.
If it resonate with you and this is something you want, and you want to be in union with your divine, and let me tell you, twin flames are coming into union because we need it. We need all the love anchored down on this earth right now. We need it. The earth is transcending, and what can't lift up gotta go.
Right.
So be intentional. Be intentional on what you want.
Oh, I'm trying to see what they talking about zodiac signs. Okay. They're talking about Gemini. So I some people believe in that stuff, some don't, but
It's energy. It's,
It's
it's fire, earth, air, water. All of it is energy. And we
can go there too.
we could go there.
I'm a Scorpio.
Yeah.
you're Scorpio and she is
Sagittarius.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Ava said, "It's how you view the world and yourself." Okay, yeah, that is true. How you view the world and yourself, and just like Russ said, if you out here at a 4.5 or 5, you're gonna get a 4.5 or 5, but you want to be around the 8, 9s, 10s, or 8s, 9.5,
Step your
9.9.
game up.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because the energy you put out is is what you're going to attract. The way you portray yourself is what's going to flock to you, just like the moth to the flame.
Yeah.
I'm
And
guessing.
our wombs hold creation. So I want women to know that you hold the key to creation. So everything that you reproduce, everything that is a direct relation to you is because of who you are. So everything how our home runs is because of how my energy is in this home. How our relationship runs is because of how my energy is. So as women, we have to master our emotions. We
Mhm.
have to stay aligned, because we align our children, our masculine counterparts. We align that as well. If I'm chaos as a woman, everything around me is going to be chaos. Period.
Some people love that.
I can't do it.
It's
It's toxic. I cannot do chaos. I cannot. I love peace.
I know y'all heard that the woman's a multiplier. So it's like whatever we give them, we plant our seeds. They're the earth. We plant the seed in the earth. Whatever you put in there is what you're going to get back.
And that's
multiplied.
true. And that's true. So as men, yeah.
If you give them hell, guess what your life's going to be?
The woman's going to give you hell. Because you're planting a seed in her womb. And we're not just talking about creating babies. We're talking about creating love, peace, harmony, health, all of that, joy.
Yeah.
So let me say this, fellas. A properly loved woman is a genie in a bottle. I can't put it no simpler than that.
Which is true, and what I was getting ready to say is, it's the Newton's law is transference of energy. So you said a womb, and you're not talking about babies, just regular intercourse. Whatever. When you take no soul ties on, you don't know what people are putting inside you. They're putting demons or whatever inside you.
That's facts. Sex is
sacred energy exchange.
There you go.
You're exchanging energy,
and you should not waste that energy. You should use that energy to manifest, to create, to imagine. That is sacred energy exchange. And so that goes back to what Russell was saying earlier about Napoleon's Hill book, is that a lot of young guys, they're wasting their sexual energy on woman after woman after woman, and it is pointless. And you're left depleted. You have no life force energy. You know, you're just winging it.
That same energy that you're ejaculating is the same. That semen is coming from the brain. So when they say you effing crazy, you could F yourself. You're losing that energy. So when you learn how to say semen retention, you really understand how to make love and how to properly have sex, and you learn how to not waste that energy and send it back up the spine. That's where the whole thing about the Kundalini or the serpentine fire comes from. So that's a whole nother story. But it's like we got away from the science of our ancestors on how to live life. You know, we're just out here, you know, like for example, like when man, you know, has lost his expression, right? So it's like he's like the beast of the field. So he's out here like, so if he loves a woman, he just wants to have sex. And if he's upset with her, he wants to get physical. That's because he's lost his mind. You know, when we're on top of our game, you look at the Moorish civilization and back in Egypt, you know, we're writing poetry, we're creating music, you know what I'm saying? We're philosophers, you know, we're developing spiritual systems when we're on top of our game. So we're doing stuff at a high level. We're developing mathematics. We're building pyramids. We're doing all these things. But now we've been stripped down to what we are now. We're down here in this third dimension just wallowing.
And the program is to keep you in your animalistic ego man. You want to get into your God man and God woman. That's where you want to go. So you have to overcome the ego and the animalistic urges. You have to.
You know, and that goes back to what we said on part one last week. It's like you come together, like I said when we first met, it's like I could be like, I see you.
Yeah.
You know, the God in me sees and acknowledges the goddess in her. Okay. And vice versa.
And we waste no energy.
And also, so it goes back to your question earlier, right? You were saying, how do you know, right? Mm-hmm. So she speaks to the higher aspect of me. She speaks to my higher self. Like she doesn't come to me trying to manipulate me with her looks and her sexuality. She doesn't try to manipulate me like that, especially when we first met. It wasn't like that. It was like she tried to tap into here and here. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And that's the way she speaks. Even if we have a disagreement, she speaks here and here. She doesn't talk at me. She talks to me. And it's always to better me. You know what I mean? So it's like,
and that's how you could tell if someone's in their lower chakras.
Yeah,
as well.
and see, that's what really had me fall deeply in love. She's very empathetic. So it's like how most people would get pissed and talk to your lower nature, right? Mm-hmm. And they bring out the devil in you instead of the God in you by the way they communicate with you. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So she would be, if I said something that was in the wrong or whatever, it would hurt her because she felt that I wasn't being my better self. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it wasn't taken personal. It was all about my self-development. And that's the way we roll. We're constantly like, we know that we have no plans on leaving each other. So it's like, how do we make each other better? Because it's like, I'll take care of me for you and you take care of you for me.
Yeah.
And that's the way we flow.
It's bigger than us.
Yeah, it's bigger than us. And the thing is, like we use the analogy of the full bottle, right? So if our bottles are always full, because we go to source to get full, we don't have to go to each other to get full. We go to each other to pour into each other.
And watch that. People will pillage your energy. Energy vampires. Watch that. Watch that big time. They will drain you dry and leave you. So you have to learn to set boundaries, protect your energy, and know where to go to replenish your own energy so that you don't go to other people to replenish you as well. There's lots of ways that you can go to the source, to nature, to replenish your life force energy, your prana.
Okay, got you on that. I think before we get out of here, I think like when you speak of what about agape love?
Agape.
I'm sorry.
That's very interesting. You want to talk on that?
Well, isn't agape in the religious sense supposed to be like the unconditional love?
Well, yeah.
That
so
speak of?
That comes from Greek culture, right? So they were like different types of love and agape being the highest. But that's a little tricky because if you really look at it, it had something to do in the ancient world with homosexuality. It was about a man and a boy. But now the church is taking it and twisted it into something else, right? But I understand the person is probably talking about that it's been the highest form of unconditional love, but that comes from Greek culture, though.
Okay. All right. So this is part of the show like you missed last week because this is the end I told you about. We do this thing called I Be Damn, where we talk about individuals who had crazy dates. But this is not even a crazy date. This is since Valentine's Day is coming. I reached out to my guy, the Dread God, and he sent me a story in about a secret admirer. Since it's around Valentine's Day, and it gets a little crazy. So where did we he said, "Hey, Rod. Okay, so it all started when my homeboy's friend found pics of me on Grinder, which is a dating app. It wasn't the first time someone used my pictures for a dating app, so I wasn't shocked at all. A couple of weeks go by, and someone starts leaving flowers at my job anonymously. I'm thinking it's probably one of my coworkers playing games. I clock out and head to my car, and some dude is posted up next to it. He sees me and says, 'Hey, sexy kid.' I said, 'Who are you?' He says, 'We met on Grinder. Then you disappeared.' I say, 'What the hell is Grinder?' He's like, 'It's a dating app.' I said, 'Bro, I have no idea. What are you talking about? I'm out.' He's like, 'So you're just going to take my money and leave? And we're supposed to go to Rome.' Side note, Mans was about to take me all the way to Rome, but you women can't even get me a 4 for $4 from Wendy's." Back to the story. He's like, "I know you're just scared. I want to pick up where we left off." I said, "Bro, nothing against you, but I don't even swing like that, nor do I have any type of dating app. I go to open my car door. This man's going to push it closed." I said, "What the fuck?" He said, like, "Let's just talk about it." It starts to rain out of nowhere. And this dude starts singing. Dead ass singing and dancing in front of me. He does a little twirl and I dive in my car and pull off. I look in my rearview mirror and see him yelling, "You can't escape me." I pull up to the park the next day. I'm telling all my friends, no one believes me. We start hooping and I look over and I see this dude ducked off in the corner. I'm like, "Bro, how was you finding me?" I tell my homeboy, he's like, "Bro, just finish the game." We get done, and then all I hear is, "We got next." I look over, and it's the guy and his friends. I'm like, "Man, forget that." I grab my stuff and start walking to my car, and he steps in front of me. He said, "You can either give me my 5,000 back, or you can teach me how to love you properly. What is it going to be?" I said, "Bro, get the hell out of my way. You got catfish. That's on you." I walk past him. He yanks me by my hair and puts me in a chokehold. The whole time he choking me, he whispering in my ear, "See, you could have been in Rome getting choked like this, but you wanted to play dumb." So you can't see the video, but he's like, as you see in the video, after I slammed him on his neck, he went home and never saw him again and never found out who got the money from that fake account. Moral of the story is, ladies, I'm worth $5,000. Come correct or don't come at all. The end.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so
Man. God.
yeah.
Wait.
So how do you handle that if that situation happens?
Well, I don't know about that
Yeah, I
one.
don't think that wouldn't even get close with me. They wouldn't have got that close.
But you know what's crazy? Those situations like that end up very dangerous.
Yeah, they do.
Are fatal. Are fatal.
Stay off dating apps.
Yeah, we joke about that stuff through these stories I get, but I do know it's true. You know, people do this all the time, steal other people's
Yeah.
pictures, get you to meet them. And I never understood with these apps, like, if this the first meetup and I know I'm not comfortable with you, we need to meet in a public place where there's a lot of people at or something that nature.
Exactly.
Not meeting you at your house. Not doing this, not
No.
doing that.
That's like a number one red flag right there.
Yeah, and that goes to show that we've gotten away from meeting people face to face and, being around people that can be validated.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? The whole
Right.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
When you're getting catfish, you don't know who the heck you're talking to.
No, no.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll have a video
maybe
call.
that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah, and I feel you, Black Marvel. There's no way, shape, or form you should be able to fish me with Apple's FaceTime, Duo, bunch of other video apps, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Live. There's no way this should be
It's a
happening.
ton too. Yeah. Wow.
Mm,
Yeah,
So,
don't be
man,
desperate.
yeah, but
Yeah.
thank you for coming back and finishing
Uh,
up from last week. Like we said, we're going to edit everything together and put it as a one show. Thank you
yeah.
again.
It was our
Um,
pleasure.
if anybody wanted to speak to you directly, how can they reach you or they want to follow you? There we go.
Yeah. So on Instagram, that's probably the best way to reach or follow me. I am nurse practitioner underscore hired on
Okay.
Instagram. And Russ is at Chef Russ 7. Check out all his amazing meals. I mean, he got some really good stuff, especially if you want to eat healthy, start preparing your food at home. That's one of the things that you'll start attracting people to you that's already on that, inner space going within. Because cooking is one of those really meditative things you could do for yourself.
And also Russell Bruce on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now remember tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we were finishing up this show today, so there is a show tomorrow. We're leaving from unconditional love today and going in tomorrow to how to recover from toxic relationships.
Whew, that should be good.
So we'll be here tomorrow at 8 p.m. I'll have another I'll Be Damn as normal around about 9 o'clock tomorrow. So definitely I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Get the immediate ebook for download at www.mphired.com or capacity2love.net. Make sure you follow them and check them out. Somebody's gonna buy something. Everybody buys something from like I have this book right here that I actually need to read. The lady that was on the show, she sent this to me. I'm single but not sorry. Um,
Mm,
so most likely I'll probably download your stuff, or if you got a paperback or a hardback, I'll buy it as well.
yeah. We got both. It'll change your life. It's
Different.
all self mastery.
Oh, self mastery matters of the
Yeah,
heart and the soul podcast.
everybody think it's just just a love book about our story, and it's deeper than it. It teaches people basically, the skills to love themselves deeper, to draw in that type of love on all levels.
Yeah. And we are at season 4 of our podcast, Matters of the Heart and Soul. And that's another way Russell and I come together in mind and heart. And we talk about a lot of things on that podcast. Everything.
Well, we have to
Yeah.
check it out. We have
Yeah.
to check it out. But definitely thank you for coming on here. So as always, I tell people you're always welcome back whenever you want to come back. So doors are
Yeah.
always open to come
We
back,
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
more
Thank
information to
you.
definitely.
come back. I'm pretty sure since Ava's reading your book, she's going to send me some more stuff to be like, bring them back.
Leave a review, please, Ava, on
Anytime.
Amazon. Reviews are important for authors.
Yes, it
Leave a
is.
review. We appreciate that so much.
Well, it's important for everything now because people read reviews and say, I don't really read reviews because I figure like I used to work in retail and stuff like that. I'm like, maybe it was just a bad day there or something like that.
Yeah.
So I have to go experience it. But I will never go back to the IHOP on the West Bank in New Orleans because they didn't have any silverware. They ran out of
Oh,
plates. They ran out of forks. And I'm thinking like, yo, who's stealing the forks? Like y'all ain't got a dishwasher back there. So
wow.
yeah, I'll never go
Man.
back
That's
to New Orleans on
funny.
the West Bank for that.
Wow. Was
But
that like at the beginning of the pandemic and it was just reopening
no,
or?
this was like 2018, 19,
Wow.
pre-pandemic.
Wow.
This was pre. They
Jeez.
just didn't have any silverware. It was like people in there stealing stuff. Like, oh man, this is crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely thank you for coming. I learned a lot. We're gonna edit this together, put it together. Right. Um, like I said, you're always welcome back. So for y'all out there in YouTube land, tomorrow 8 o'clock, recovering from toxic financial. What she say? Toxic relationships. A tag on with being wiped out financially. by
Ooh,
somebody. I said, okay, all right. Don't
yeah,
tell your story.
yeah.
You shouldn't be doing joint accounts until you really know the person, know how they operate with money. So
It happens, though. It happens. It happens.
yeah, I mean that's one thing I was always told. You need to see how people operate with money first before you decide to do anything.
I
So
agree. Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate it so much.
all right, thank you. And what days do y'all come on? Are y'all live or y'all do record or and you put it
We
on
mix it
alternate?
up.
We mix it up. We be doing when we get downloads and we need to send a message out, we get it out.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So,
I'll look for it. I'll subscribe to it tonight as I'm watching the rest of the game.
There you go.
all right.
All right. Thank you for coming. See y'all tomorrow,
All
8
right.
o'clock.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take care.
Toxic relationships.